everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get to Know Them. I am so happy you're here. For those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, I am your host, Monica Graves, and I broadcast my talk show live on Facebook every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And this show is a show where I interview some of the most fascinating people I know in hopes that they will inspire you. So please sit back and enjoy the next 45 minutes to an hour with us. This week is a really special week because we are kicking off the month where we celebrate women. Friday, as you know, is International Women's Day. And so for this entire month, I'm going to be speaking with different women from all walks of life doing amazing things. And Suzanne Muir is our very first guest. She is helping us to kick off the month. Before I introduce her, though, I just wanted to talk to you about some of my show sponsors. So my very first show sponsor is Brenda Bedome, and she has been with me since the very beginning. She designs a beautiful line of clothing for women. I'm always wearing her clothing, and you can check her out at brendabedome.com. Use the coupon code Get to Know Them, and she'll give you 20% off your order. My second show sponsor is a brand new show sponsor, flourishandbasque.ca. They are located in downtown Oakville, and they have a beautiful assortment of alcohol-free options for beverages. So make sure you check them out, flourishandbasque.ca. And again, you can use the coupon code Get to Know Them, and lovely Chantal there will give you 10% off your order. And my next question to you is, if you are free on Thursday night, our next sponsor is Scooters. You can check them out at scooters.ca. This is my happy place where I go roller skating every Thursday night. They have lessons for adults at 7 p.m. So if it's been a while and you're thinking about getting back into roller skating, make sure you check out the lessons, and I will see you there. And last but not least, our fourth sponsor is my business, Glam Jewels, and you can check out my website at glamjewels.com. It's spelled Glam like mother, JULZ.com, where I have a variety of jewelry, custom pieces for women, and I also do a lot of jewels that are used for fundraising for different causes. So if you're somebody who would like to raise money for a cause, whether it's for a large organization or perhaps just to help out a neighbor or a friend, please contact me. I'd be more than happy to work with you. So are you guys ready to hear all about our guest today? I am so excited to introduce her to you. We were both a little nervous. I don't know if anybody else had problems this morning, but I guess Facebook did a little bit of a refresh and some of us were kicked out, but we're back here. We're back on, so everything is good. Today, you're going to meet my friend, Suzanne Muir. Since 1995, Suzanne has been a librarian, a teacher, and an equity, diversity, and inclusion leader at the Halton District School Board. She has also consulted for the same type of work in her community. She is the founder of Spark, a women's business networking group. Today, Suzanne is the Director of Operations for the Syrian Canadian Foundation, an organization that seeks to support and facilitate the successful integration of Syrian newcomers that arrive in the GTA. Suzanne is also a published children's author. Her books are available through her publisher, Compass Books. Suzanne is amazing. Her passion to support women, especially those new to Canada, is something I have admired about her since the day I met her. Let's bring her on.
Hello.
Suzanne! Oh
Hi.
my God! I'm so happy to have you kicking
Thank
off the
you.
month with me. This
I
is
know it's
great.
pretty exciting, eh? Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah,
And it's so funny. You and I, we just saw each other after all that COVID time.
I
And
know.
I was so happy that you're still doing what I've always known you to do, and that is to help women who are newcomers to Canada and empower them and get
Yep.
them jobs. And I mean, you've even helped women in other countries. So
Yeah,
you're
true.
you, you
We did a partnership together with Spark, remember? And we raised
that's
money
right.
for Cuba. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
exciting.
that was so exciting. Yeah. So Suzanne, of course we want to get to know you today, and we got to start from the very beginning and ask you, what did little Suzanne want to be when she grew up?
Well, it's funny you ask that. So, my mother was a teacher, and I always, since I was a little girl, also wanted to be a teacher. I was kind of a natural born teacher, I guess. I used to line up my little stuffed animals at the end of the bed and give them spelling tests and things like that. And I always thought about when I was in kindergarten, my best friend, who was my next door neighbor, Linda Lyons, she and I used to always say, we're going to be kindergarten teachers and we're going to share like 2 classrooms and all this stuff. Now, she went on to a really great career in finance, and I did become a teacher. But I do also remember when I was about 10 being very interested in marine biology. And I never did explore that. But yeah, I've always had a passion for teaching and working with people. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy helping people to reach their full potential.
Wow. So tell us about your teaching career. How did that start? Did you do like a co-op sort of thing in high school, or
No, I mean,
how
I'd
did you
always been, as I said, always been really interested in teaching. So I took
yeah.
on a lot of sort of informal teaching positions, even as a teenager. So I actually taught piano lessons as a teenager because my piano teacher, she she was more working with the higher level students, and she needed people to take on her beginner students. So
Mhm.
I started in about grade 10 or 11 in high school teaching. I had about 12 students every week who would come to my house, and I'd give them their half an hour lesson, and I would hold recitals for them and all that kind of stuff. And then I was also trained as a lifeguard and a swimming teacher as a teenager. So I just naturally gravitated to teaching. And then when I went to university, I actually almost became a midwife, but I got into the midwifery program at McMaster when it was first started. But I realized I did a little bit of volunteer doula work, and I realized I can't stay up all night. I can't do it.
Mm, yeah, that's right. You'd have to be on call all the time. No
Yeah, so then I
kidding.
realized, okay, I'm not suited to that. Like, I just can't stay up all night. So I
Yeah.
decided, okay, I'm going to become a teacher. I'm going to follow in my mom's footsteps and become an elementary school teacher. And I started that career in the Toronto District School Board. And I started right away teaching in the library. Back then, we had librarians who were focused on media literacy and, really just helping children with the joy of reading and
Yeah.
giving sort of enhanced programming to the classroom teachers.
Gosh, that's great. So what was your first introduction to newcomers into Canada? Like, I was even thinking about this, Suzanne. I remember, we all kind of, if we all come from another country. So somewhere along the line, maybe we've all heard a story where it's like,
Sure.
your dad came across from Germany on the boat and he had $100 in his pocket and he built
Yeah.
this new life for himself. And, it's, I'm sure that story is not uncommon today.
Oh,
And it's kind of scary, when you think about it, because we all know the cost of housing is through the roof. If you want to live, close to the Toronto area where all the jobs are,
yeah.
you might be coming over with a little more than $100. But we're talking about refugees who have lost everything. So we'll get into all of that. But I just wondered, like, was there a time where you met somebody who had come from another country that was sort of the spark,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that got you going on this,
Well,
or
well, for sure. And I think, it's interesting. Again, I mean, we have to remember that we're all here as settlers, right, on native land, and
Mhm.
we have to acknowledge that and appreciate that the value that we've had in our lives because we did all migrate to Canada from somewhere. My family actually came to Canada in the 1800s from Scotland. Yeah,
Wow.
and talk about women's, International Women's Month. So I think she was my great great grandmother. She came alone on the boat from Scotland, and she met and married her husband on the boat. And we don't know why.
Oh,
We don't know why she left Scotland. We don't know if she was in trouble. Maybe she was pregnant. I don't know why, but it was unusual in those days for a woman to come alone, right?
oh
Anyway,
my
they got
gosh, gives you
married.
goosebumps.
I know. And they got
Oh,
married and they started farming up around Fenland Falls area. That's where my mom's side comes from. And yeah, and so we've been in Canada since the 1860s. But I would say I started to really understand diversity in Canada when I was in maybe about grade 10 or 11. And I met a lot of friends in high school in Brampton. I grew up in Brampton, Ontario.
mhm.
And, just I had led a very insulated life up until that point, and then realizing, oh, I had friends now who were Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, Ismaili, Jain, Zoroastrian, like all these different backgrounds, and that we don't all do everything exactly the same way. And I was so interested and fascinated by that, that it led me to go into study anthropology at university, because I really wanted to understand cultural differences and how culture impacts our daily lives, um, both in like a multicultural society like Canada, but also in other societies. And so, yeah, that's, I think, where my first introduction was, really, to people who were newer to Canada, right, than my family.
Mhm.
Um, and really just like interested in respecting and valuing like all the unique differences that people bring with them.
Mhm. Wow. Great. So, and then your first sort of step into working with people, was that when you created Spark, Suzanne, or was that
Nope.
before that?
Yeah, so then I
Yeah.
worked as a teacher in the Toronto District School Board, which of course is an
Mm.
extremely multicultural place to work.
Yeah.
Um, many of my students back then were brand new to Canada, refugees to Canada, and so on. And Toronto already had a very substantial settlement support program for those families. Then in
Mhm.
2001, I was hired into the Halton District School Board to be the equity, diversity, and inclusion lead for that board. And they were starting back in 2001 really with just the bare bones of a portfolio. And we did not have a settlement program in Halton to help newcomer families, particularly with integration into school. There were settlement agencies, of course, in the community, like Halton Multicultural Council was a huge, and still is a huge settlement agency that supports families in Halton. So through that portfolio and my collaboration with the uh, Halton Multicultural Council executive director back then, her name was Joanna Matthews, we decided together, let's apply to Immigration Canada. Let's start a settlement in the schools program, because we could see the need growing and growing in Halton. And we thought, if we don't really kind of get ahead of this, then families are not going to understand the school system. Children won't do as well in the school system, and so on. So that's really, I think, was my first introduction. We were successful. We got the funding, and then we just went ahead and designed a program.
Okay. Wow. And what sort of, like, over the years in your experience, what have the biggest challenges been for refugees once they come here? I just want you to take us to
Oh,
sort of, when they get off the airplane and here they
I
are.
think, I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of myths and stereotypes about newcomers and refugees coming to Canada.
Mhm.
First of all, I think, of course, there's relief in some sense to be here in Canada, but there's
Mhm.
actually a lot of loss involved, right? So people experience a lot of loss of home, family at times, friendships, status, because many people who come from another country, like they might have been working in a really high paid, high level position, doctors, lawyers, government officials, and then they come to Canada. And unfortunately, because we're still lagging behind on like the accreditation process here in Canada for many professions, they end up doing kind of survivor jobs that are, and not that any job is beneath anybody, but it's hard to the self-esteem, right, to go from being a medical doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, to driving Uber. And
Mhm.
it's actually, you feel as though your skills are just not being valued or used, right? So there's a lot of that,
Mhm.
and I think that's why in my current role at Syrian Canadian Foundation And by the way, although our name is Syrian Canadian Foundation, we actually serve newcomers and refugees from all over the world. So
Oh,
we just started with the Syrian refugee crisis in 2016. But a lot of our
okay.
programs actually focus on mental health and mental wellness for newcomers and refugees, because there's a lot of hidden depression and anxiety that is also kind of exacerbated by sometimes cultural taboos about expressing that, you know?
Mm,
And
right.
there's a lot of challenges too. I mean, I can't imagine how challenging it would be for me to just pick up and move to a new country, learn a new
Yeah.
language, learn a new system at my age, and so on. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned in working with newcomers and refugees is that there's definitely a hidden mental cost to coming
Mhm.
here, no matter how happy you are to be here.
Of course, yeah. Imagine us leaving all of this behind and, have being forced to leave it behind and we have
Mm.
to start somewhere new. So, another one of the old stories, like I'm thinking of the stories that are, some of us with parents who have come over here is that when they came here, like I remember my parents saying, um, oh, there was just so much opportunity in Canada. Everywhere you look, there was a way to make money. And, I grew up in a home where my parents both came from Germany at different times. They met in Canada, but they always had several things going on. Before my brother and I were born, they both worked a couple of jobs.
Mhm.
Then when my brother and I were born, they had, like, my mom worked full time, but she also taught English as a second language. She had an income tax business that and my dad had other things going on as well. So I just wondered if that, that's another stereotype. It's like when people come from other countries, they see Canada and they see maybe opportunities that we as citizens who have been here for a long time are perhaps missing. Do you find that are there stories like that with some of the
Oh,
people you've worked with where it's just like blowing your mind how
yeah.
they
Oh,
are
yeah,
making money
definitely.
over here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's a whole continuum, right? There are people who come and they
Right.
still need government support for a long time to get integrated. And then there's
Yeah.
people who just hit the ground running. We have a program for newcomer women entrepreneurship training and skill development called New Venture. And we have some women who are in that program who've been here less than a year, and they're already up and running with a product. They're getting that product onto shelves. Like, it's very exciting and inspiring to see what they can do if they just have that little bit of help and networking. Um, and again, like, the skill development is a really important aspect of all the programming that we're doing at Syrian Canadian Foundation. We have a youth and skilled trade program. We have refugee and newcomer youth who, again, you think, well, they're young, like they should be able to just, go and do anything. But some have really large gaps in schooling because of the
Mhm.
conflict in Syria. Some are just more suited. They want to do skilled trades. And as we know, skilled trades are a really viable and vibrant lifestyle. Like, you can have a great life working in skilled trades. So we actually just finished training um, 20 youth, and 10 have gone on to an actual placement. And so they're getting paid well. They're continuing to develop their construction skills. And it's really
Amazing.
exciting. Yeah. And they actually learned to build an entire house, like how to frame it and how to, yeah, it was really,
Oh,
really unique and cool
that's
programming for them. So yeah,
yeah.
we're excited about those kind of opportunities. And I think there are a lot of opportunities in Canada, but it's like anywhere. When you arrive, you don't have anybody to kind of show you the ropes and
Mhm.
unlock those opportunities for you. It's
Right.
easy for a newcomer or refugee to just kind of get stuck in that cycle of, okay, I'm just going to work a survivor job and I'm not going to maybe improve my English language skills because I'm nervous or I'm not confident. And then we're trying to break that cycle, to really help people thrive.
Yeah.
Sometimes people do okay in the first year because they have a lot of government support, but then as the government support gradually decreases, that's when they need organizations like ours to step in and provide them with that next boost to get to the next level.
Okay, that's great. So, Suzanne, because we're celebrating International Women's Day, and can you kind of walk us through the program with women, like
Yeah,
sort of from start to finish when a woman comes to you? What is it that you
sure.
offer?
So we actually, there's two main programs, right? Well, no, there's three main programs that we offer specifically for women. So the first one is New Venture, which is the Women Entrepreneurship Program. And we will have a new cohort of women starting that in April. So if you know of any refugee newcomer women who want to start their own business, of course, we'll put links, right, to our website
Mhm.
underneath this interview.
Yeah.
There will be intake starting in April for the next group of women. We have women who are actually doing a pitch competition this week from this year's cohort. So there are about, I think, 10 or 12 women who are pitching their business idea for a prize, for prize money. And
Mm,
then, as I said, a lot of them are already up and running and selling products or services, and it's a really exciting program. We have another program called Women in Civic Engagement, which is about women who come from high level, high educated backgrounds in their home country. Maybe they worked for government or politics, or they worked for a nonprofit in their home country. And we're trying to bridge that for them here with networking and knowledge and building their understanding of the Canadian political system so that they can be more
mm,
engaged in that kind of career progress here in Canada. Again, we're trying to, we don't want people, we don't want women with a PhD in political science and they worked for, whatever level of government in their home country to come now and feel like, okay, all I can do is go work at McDonald's or, serve
right.
coffee. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Yeah.
it's about matching people's skills to their ability, right? And their potential. And
Yes,
helping
and
them.
I'm so excited because Suzanne, you've actually connected me with one of those women, and she's going to
Yeah.
be a guest next week. So,
Yes, that is great.
yeah, it's really awesome.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I'm excited to talk to her.
And then our third
Yeah.
women focused program is called SAWA, which is for Arabic speaking women. And again, it addresses the mental health aspect. So, a lot of Syrian women in particular, but not just Syrian women, a lot of women in general are coming from high conflict areas of the world, and sometimes also experience like domestic violence or a lot of transitional stress when they get to Canada.
Mhm.
And so we've created a program. It's kind of like a group awareness, group support, where they learn about coping skills. They get some peer support because they build relationships with other women in the group. And then they also get access to some free or low cost one on one talk therapy, which for many of these women, it's the first time they've ever openly expressed that they're not feeling great, you know? Like, I
Wow.
think we've come a long way in North America with, opening up the doors and talking about mental health. But in some cultures and some places in the world, it's still very taboo to talk about it, right? And sort of
Mhm.
seen as a character flaw, which it shouldn't be. So we're really
No.
working to destigmatize that, give women the opportunity to find help and resources.
That's wonderful. Suzanne, like when you think of all the women that you've known over the years, is there one woman where you want to kind of share a story about like that was just
Oh my
like
gosh,
a
there's so
miracle? I
many.
mean, there's so many. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
But
so
but
many.
even
There's so
somebody who
many.
maybe, yeah, even someone maybe who really inspired you and taught, I know you learned from all of them, but maybe something
Oh man, it's just,
particular
you know
that,
what? It's women who really, they just keep going. Like they've overcome a lot. Some people have really lost like real significant family members and they just keep going and they keep trying to live a good and happy life. I think those are the people who are most inspiring to me. Like, they might show up to a program and you think they're fine. And then you hear their story and you're just like, wow, I don't know if I'd still be standing if that experience happened to me. Um,
yeah.
but they're so resilient, and I think women in general are resilient, and we have a lot of connections and a lot of friendships and relationships that support us and keep us going. And I think that's one of the strengths that women all over the world have.
Yeah, and I think it's beautiful what you're doing because again, you're building community amongst women. I mean, the friendships that come out of this must be quite extraordinary,
Yes, and we
you know?
always have like follow-up support in our programs. A lot of participants stay in touch through a WhatsApp group, and they
Okay.
continue to support each other, ask questions, post opportunities, and they even get together in person. They organize like coffee dates, and so we feel like that's also such a beneficial side product of the actual programming is the relationships that are built through it.
Mhm.
And for some women, this is the first group of friends that they meet in Canada, you know?
Yeah, beautiful. So you guys have some things coming up that you were going to share with us as
Yeah,
well,
we do.
on
Okay.
how we can all get involved. Yeah,
Yeah, let me share
I
first.
love.
Okay, first I wanna shout out to you. So Monica has so graciously donated from Glam Jewels a beautiful bracelet and necklace for our silent auction. We have an event coming up on March 17th. It's a cultural evening. Look at that beautiful necklace.
Oh,
So this is going to be a silent auction item at our event. It's a cultural evening with there's going to be a little bit, not, I wouldn't call it entertainment necessarily, but kind of. And there's going to be a speaker, a very inspirational speaker herself, who is a refugee woman who came to Canada. And it's just going to be a lovely community evening, good food at Sagan Banquet Hall. I'm just going to share with you the event page so that you can have a better look.
great.
And we are, of course, still selling tickets to that event.
Mhm.
Where
And
is
what's
it?
the date again, Suzanne? Is it
It's
March 7th?
March 17th. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
March 17th. Okay, so this is our
Yeah.
website. And of course, you can see these are some of our projects. I haven't talked about all of our programs. We have a really cool virtual reality language learning research project. And that is also an event coming up on can you see this page now on to the
Yep.
next? Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a conference coming up on Tuesday, March the 19th, where we're sharing the research findings of learning language through virtual reality modules.
Oh, cool.
Which has been very, very interesting. And again, if people are interested in coming to learn about the research, it's free. It's at University of Toronto, Mississauga. People can come and learn all about what the research findings have been showing us around that. It's been a collaboration with University of Toronto, which is awesome. And then we have every Ramadan. So many of our clients are Muslim. Every Ramadan, which of course is the month of fasting for Muslim people, it's a time for a lot of charitable giving. We run a campaign called the Home Starter Kit. And what we do with the Home Starter Kit is we create these customized kits for refugee families who are moving from their transitional housing that the government provides to their more long-term housing. So we buy them things like cookware, bedding, cleaning supplies, and also food grocery cards to help them get started. And so that's why our event is happening on our goal this year is last year we raised $60,000. This year we're trying to raise 100,000. I am a community ambassador. You can see my donation page down here. So if you want to donate through me, you can click on my donate now page and help support those refugee families directly. But we also have our fundraising dinner coming up on the 17th. I think it's going to, oh, no, it's not going to show us. Here we go, events. So where's here we are, the cultural night. Can you see that cultural night
Yep.
fundraiser?
It's perfect. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be at Sagan Banquet Hall in Mississauga, 7 p.m. Oh, 5 p.m. is the start time on March 17th. And the tickets, I think they're about, I can't remember, I think they're about $65. We're already more than 70% sold out. So the tickets are going fast. If you want to come and enjoy a cultural night, there'll be lovely food, lots of people to chat with. We're going to have the silent auction. We also have the women from our newcomer new venture entrepreneurship program are going to have some of their products out for sale as well. So there'll be vendor tables. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, we're excited. And everyone is welcome. Although it is an iftar evening for people who are fasting, there'll be a lot of people from all different backgrounds at the event.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. I love this idea. Yeah, this is great. Bringing everybody together. And remember, back when you had, well, you still have Spark, but when you were actively doing events, and the one that I came to, Carmen North was there, remember? And she
Oh,
was playing guitar. So
yeah.
I forgot to tell you, I reconnected with her. I
Yeah,
reached
she's
out to her
awesome.
like when COVID, yeah, and she came on the show, and we were
Oh, yeah,
reminiscing
she's
about that
awesome.
event, and yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah, we did a lot of fun things
was,
with Spark. I mean, Spark was
yeah.
really born out of my loneliness as working as a consultant, and I didn't have a group of people to connect with. And then I just said, okay, I'll just start my own networking group.
Hmm.
And it grew very quickly, right? Remember,
Yeah,
I had 2,000 online members and like hundreds of local members. But then COVID happened, right? And we couldn't do the
yeah,
in-person events. And I was already fine. I was teaching online kindergarten at that time, so I had a bit of online fatigue. And so I
yeah.
just kind of put Spark on hold for now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And that's the one thing COVID did. We had to reevaluate things, and
Oh, yeah.
but look at this good work you're doing. I'm just so happy for you that it's so cool how you had Spark and that was your passion, and then you were doing your teaching, and then you decided, you know what, I want to help newcomers. That's my,
Yeah.
that I'm
My
so
passion.
passionate about that.
Yeah.
And look at you, that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
mean,
you've always done
a
it.
lot of people thought, "Oh, why are you leaving teaching?" Because teaching is obviously a well-paid career, and
Yeah.
working in the not-for-profit sector is sometimes less paying, to be honest. But
Hmm.
I don't know, there just comes a time in your life where you have to do the things that, as you said, are passionate to you and that you feel like are the best use of your skills. And I know that I can bring a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity, um, and just enthusiasm, right, to this
Hmm.
organization. And I love working at Syrian Canadian Foundation because we're a very small team. There's only about 10 of us full-time employees, but everyone shares that passion, for trying to help people and really ensure that people have the best chance to thrive in Canada. And that's always inspiring to go to work, because you have people who are just like you trying to do their best out there to make a difference. I
Yeah.
enjoy it so much.
Oh, that's so great, Suzanne. So is there any advice you can give the average Canadian on how they can support somebody who's new to Canada?
I think it's just always, of course, we have to unlearn our biases about people who are different than us. We have to look beyond the surface, of the differences and really understand people individually. And, just offer a kind hand, right? Of help to
Mhm.
whoever needs some help. Um, Try to not be judgmental about whatever the circumstances are that perhaps brought them to Canada or are keeping them in Canada. And yeah, just, also connect with good organizations that are doing reputable work. If you want to help, of course, we have a donation page. We're always open to donations. And we are really trying hard to help those families that have just arrived and need
Yeah.
the most help to get started. Imagine not even being able to buy plates for your family.
Yeah.
That's a difficult thing. So yeah, so we do our best to help them have a good start.
Great. And as far as people who maybe, their kids are now grown up in university and they have some extra space in their house that maybe they want to sponsor a family to come and live with them, is that something you can help with as well?
We don't
Uh,
we don't do housing per se through
okay.
our organization, but there are
Mhm.
organizations that do help with housing. And housing is at a critical point, right? In Ontario, there is
Right.
a huge lack of housing. Um, I know, for example, I'm on a Facebook group just for Ukrainian refugees and helping them find rooms to rent when they
Mhm.
arrive. And there's always way more demand than the rooms available. So, yes, I mean, think about it. If you have a room available and you're willing to, get to know somebody new. And
Mhm.
oftentimes, you think, oh, they might need a lot of help, but I find refugee and newcomers are very resilient and very resourceful. A lot of them don't need as much help as you might think. It's like they do a
Yeah.
lot on their own. They just need the doors opened, and then they just run
Yeah.
with it.
Beautiful. I have a good friend of mine. She has refugees from the Ukraine who are living with her,
Yeah.
and she's like, they blow me away. It's just amazing. And they have this special dessert that they made, and it was so delicious, she said. And then they decided, you know what, we can't find this in Canada. We're gonna package it and sell it. So like
See?
that,
There you go.
so they're, yeah, they have full-time work, plus they're creating this lovely dessert, and it's
Yeah,
great. I mean, I feel like even for us, when we leave this country to go travel and explore a new country, one of the things that brings me the most joy, and I think most people who love to travel, is that you are immersed in a different culture, and you get to know people and see how they live, and you learn things, and you're inspired. So it would be lovely to have someone like that in your home where you could do the same. It's
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And it really, we're very lucky here in Southern Ontario. Only when I leave here and I go to other places and then I realize they don't have this rich diversity that we have,
Yeah.
then I feel, oh wow, like we're actually so lucky. Because all of our neighbors, all of our friends, all of our coworkers, all of our, classmates come from all these different countries in Southern Ontario. And there's a richness that comes with that, not just food, right? But also like a
Yeah.
richness of experience, a richness of values, a richness of like just world understanding. And
Yes.
and I just think it makes all of us so much better if we can
Hmm.
embrace it, right? And really get to know
Yeah.
each other, get out of our little groups. And we're trying to do that also with our newcomer and refugee clients. Like, it's not just about making friends in your own group, it's also about integrating into your larger community and finding
Mhm.
ways that we can connect them, you know.
Yeah, so beautiful. I always like Suzanne, there's something about language, and like my mom and dad are both from Germany, so
Yeah.
we know our German, but um there are things I can say in German that I cannot say in English. And
Yes,
there it's just so interesting to me that there are all these different concepts and ways of thinking that by learning other languages, we can really expand our minds in a way that is just unbelievable, like,
totally. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. And languages are so beautiful to learn. I've tried very hard over the years. Like, my children are half Pakistani, so their grandmother speaks Urdu and Punjabi, and I began to pick up a few phrases, throughout the years. Um, and then that when I went to teach up in Milton, many of my students spoke Urdu or Punjabi. So sometimes I would surprise them and I would speak to them in Urdu, and they were so delighted that, how does this
wow,
teacher know how to speak Urdu? And it's such a simple thing, just to learn a few phrases. And
yes,
it makes the students also feel connected, and that they
yeah,
can come to school as their authentic self. So the more we can all share and learn, I think it just, I don't know, to me, it really helps everybody to show up as who they really are, in
yeah.
Canada.
Oh, that's so beautiful. You're amazing. I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you too. I love the work you're doing. I love that you're roller skating. I'm gonna maybe be daring and try to join you roller skating.
Yes, do it, do it, do it. Yeah, the lessons are everything. You
I
you do
used
a
to love
lesson, you'll
roller
get the
skating
comp.
back in the day. We used to go
Yeah.
every Friday night.
See, it's still in there. You don't
Yeah,
forget.
we were 13.
That's okay. I have the same story.
But yeah, thank you always.
Oh,
And I always loved the support that you gave me through Spark, because we did the fundraising for the Kiva for, again, women entrepreneurs around the world. And we were able to donate money through the Spark bracelets that you created, which were so beautiful. I still have mine. I still give a few away as gifts to people that are special to me. And again, thank you so much for your donation to our silent auction. It means a lot to us.
Oh, Suzanne, anything for you. And you do so much for me too. I mean, it's totally a two-way street here. You've always been a big
Yeah,
support. So thank you so much.
awesome.
I'm so happy. Well, thank you. I'm going to put you in our virtual green room, and
Okay.
I'm just so happy that we kicked it off, man. Celebrating women. Take-
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica.
You're welcome. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Keep on celebrating. If you're looking for something to do Friday night, I'm hosting an event here at my studio for women in collaboration with my friends at She's Got Legs. Send me a DM. I'll send you the info. We're going to transform the studio space into a workshop where you're going to be able to make jewels and then after dance the night away to some disco music. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. Check out all our sponsors. Keep on showing the world your sparkle. And I will see you back here next week with another amazing woman to celebrate International Women's Day. Talk to you soon.